You don't need to build high to build dense. Many villages are much denser than the modernistic suburbs with the tall buildings. There are just different ways of delivering that density. And I believe you can do it at a human scale. And if we take care of that nice scale, we can also ensure that there's maybe a better microclimate. And especially for us, if you say a little bit more north in Europe, microclimate's important. Because if we can kind of make it a little bit less cold, less windy in the winter, and if we can make it a little bit cooler in the summer, and now I guess Belgium's getting hotter summers now because of climate change, that can also be important too. And that brings us into another subject. Another important subject the book has to deal with is also about climate change. But I call that subject living with the weather. There's an expression in the Scandinavian languages, which is something like, there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad clothes or only the wrong clothes. And that's an idea that actually you can adapt to the weather all the time. Put your coat on, put up your umbrella, you'll survive in the rain. And I guess this culture of living with the weather is very strong in Scandinavia. People, will have great winter clothes, they'll have a rain jacket, they'll have a beautiful veranda, and they'll have a garden furniture, although the season is maybe quite short. But you really make the most of the different weather. And if we're smart, we can build at a scale which gives us better microclimate, better local nature, and our outside experiences can be actually much more positive, regardless of the weather. And as we enter this period of climate change with extreme heat, extreme cold, extreme rain, we can accommodate those things by designing an environment that is comfortable with that. We can provide shelter from the wind. We can provide more shade from the sun and have adaptive, responsive climate. And I guess that's coming back to the softness again, is the idea that the environment is responsive to your needs every day. And finally, I guess the other big question is to do with getting about. It's about mobility, and every town is complaining about the traffic. And traffic engineers, they build more and more roads, they add an extra lane on the highway, and the traffic doesn't get better. So how can we improve mobility, transportation, in a way that's also human? And again, one of the first things we can do is we can think, rather than thinking about the solution is mobility, the solution is transport, the solution is accessibility. Getting to things is what's important. And so the first way we can eliminate the need for those extra lanes on the motorway or on the street or more traffic is more things in walking distance from your home. And again, it's about living locally. And I know in Paris, the mayor of Paris, Anne Hidalgo, she's been talking about the 15-minute city. And that's really great. But I think we need to think more about the 5-minute city, the 2-minute city, the 1-minute city. It takes me 1 minute to go from my bedroom to the front door to get the post. It takes me 2 minutes to go out, cross the street, go to the baker and buy bread. These very, very short distances. It takes the kids 30 seconds to run outside and play in the backyard. It maybe takes a bit longer to get them back in again. But it's those short distances, those little things, which makes the city much more livable and easy. And so the first way we can start solving the transportation question is move less, live more locally. And then we can find out, how can we make it nice to walk, easier that our kids can walk to school, easier that we can cycle. There's really great Danish research that children who walk and cycle to school have a better academic performance than kids who are driven to school. And this has completely changed the perspective in the Danish middle class of what the right thing to do is. Now, in Denmark, you're not a good parent if you drive your kids to school, because your kids are going to have worse school results. Make them walk, make them cycle in all weathers, and they'll come to school alert and fit and full of life and ready to learn. And there's so many things like this which come together. And it's not just about being a more sustainable city. It's about a healthier and happier city. And I guess that's the final thing, this idea that the soft city is a healthy city. You can ask, You can ask a district nurse, or you can ask a surgeon, what's the foundation of public health? And they'll tell you more or less the same thing every time. They'll say fresh air, exercise, and meet people. No, you don't need to climb a mountain. Just go outside, walk down the street. You don't need to play basketball or, just walk, just move about, ride a bike, and be sociable. You don't need to go to a party. Just be in the company of other human beings. And if a city can offer us those easy things, everything in 2 or 3 minutes away, the possibility to be outside, to move about, to move our bodies. My iPhone tells me that I have to get 10,000 steps every day. Well, how can that be possible in an easy, natural way? Move about and be amongst other people. And those simple things can make for a much better future for this planet. But they can also make for much stronger communities and much happier lives for us as individuals. So that's a little bit the story of Soft City. I'm looking forward to coming to Belgium in the autumn to come and go into a little bit more detail about all the things that the Soft City are about, to tell you more. But until then, thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to seeing you soon.